What happened during the 86-minute time window on May 11 in Austin, Texas? Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. It's not accurate to say that Mo Wilson was shot at 9:56 p.m. That was when the 911 call was made. Kaitlin Cash, Mo's friend, had just returned home and, after finding her friend in distress, tried to perform CPR. But it is likely she was shot shortly before Cash arrived home. Mo had sustained 3 bullet wounds from a SIG-Sauer handgun fitted with a silencer. Strickland said he dropped Mo off at her friend's home in Maple Avenue at around 8:30 p.m. 7 minutes later, Kaitlin Armstrong's black Jeep was captured driving by the house on CCTV camera. The cops were alerted at 9:56 p.m. So what happened in the rather large 86-minute window? Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Like, share, leave a comment. Bear in mind we're doing a live in a couple of hours at 3 p.m. Central, so don't miss that. Now, according to the affidavit, Kaitlin Cash received a notification at 8:36 p.m. that the door had been unlocked. This narrows the time frame down slightly to 80 minutes. It's unclear whether Mo locked the door after entering, but we do know Kaitlin Armstrong was there or hovering nearby when Colin dropped Mo off. The affidavit notes that Kaitlin's Jeep stopped right outside Cash's home where Mo was staying at 8:37 p.m. The affidavit also stresses that the Jeep stopped opposite the residence 1 minute after Mo entered Cash's residence. And this is an excerpt from the affidavit. Detective Ramirez spoke with the homeowners and they allowed him to review the surveillance video. In the video, Detective Ramirez observed a dark-colored SUV drive past the residence with the surveillance cameras at 8:37 p.m., 1 minute after Wilson entered Cash's residence. According to the locking mechanism, the dark-colored SUV then slowed down, appeared to come to a stop directly next to Cash's residence. The SUV appeared to have a large bicycle rack mounted on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, a luggage rack mounted on the roof, and what appeared to be chrome around the windows. No other vehicles were observed on video surveillance passing by until marked emergency vehicles arrived. Now, it doesn't mention whether Kaitlin herself was seen stepping out of the vehicle on the CCTV footage or what she was wearing or carrying. But it's hard to imagine she wasn't captured on CCTV. Perhaps if it was dark and she chose her moment when cars weren't coming down the street, and by all accounts no cars were coming down the street for the next hour or more, she could perhaps have slipped inside unseen. We also don't know, is it a motion detector camera or infrared? Essentially, can it see in the dark? But that brings up another mystery. How did Kaitlin get inside? Did Mo forget to lock the door behind her? Also, was Kaitlin driving around with a loaded SIG-Sauer and a silencer in the glove compartment? Because it seems like Kaitlin didn't return home to retrieve it. If the incident did occur at close to 8:37 p.m., then it means Mo survived the shooting for over an hour, but was nevertheless unable to call for help. We also know that Mo's bike was removed from the property and hidden 68 feet south of Cash's residence. This indicates the cool-headedness of the assassin. It appears even if Kaitlin was angry, she had the presence of mind to mislead the investigators by making it look like a botched robbery. This errand to retrieve the bike and hide it down the road may have taken a few minutes and led to her arriving home after Colin. So what we know now raises 3 questions. Number 1, what prior engagement did Kaitlin have in the late afternoon and evening on May 11th that made Colin and Mo comfortable enough to think when the cat's away the mice will play? And did Kaitlin leave this engagement early? Number 2, how and when did Kaitlin figure out Colin was with Mo that day? At what point was Kaitlin alerted that Colin was or seemed to be cheating on her? Within this question, a few additional questions arise. Did she not have an engagement that day after all? Did she check his phone or emails? Did she check Mo's Strava and then head to Cash's home on a whim, only to spy her boyfriend dropping Mo off? In other words, almost by coincidence. Did she follow the couple? If so, how long had she been watching them? So the real question is, was she following them, and if so, for how long had she been following them? We do know that she was following them on social media, including Instagram. Kaitlin Armstrong was following Mo on Instagram and also monitoring Colin Strickland's phone. And so does that not translate into real-world following as well? And that brings us to the third and final question. Did Colin Strickland not realize at some point that night that Kaitlin was following them? Because his exit from Maple Avenue, rather than returning straight home, he heads north. In other words, in the opposite direction to home. He goes through an alleyway before turning around and going south. Wasn't that because he thought he saw the Jeep? With its idiosyncratic bicycle rack, it would be easy enough to identify. Also, when Strickland arrived home, was Kaitlin there? What happened when they first encountered one another? What did he say? What did she say? So I'm not going to take it further than that. We are now at a point of a month and about a week since Kaitlin Armstrong went on the run. Right now, there are no new stories, no new developments on where she is or what's going on. One wonders whether are the federal authorities, are they simply playing it cool and monitoring Christine Armstrong, hoping that she's going to give her sister away or that she's going to lead authorities to her sister. And in a weird way, we're back to the scenario of the Brian Laundrie case where we wondered whether he was in the national park near his home in Florida. So was he in a national park nearby? Was he on the Great Appalachian Trail, not so nearby, or had he completely left the country? And so we kind of left with a similar scenario with Kaitlin Armstrong. Is she in or near the Camp Haven grounds? Is she a little bit further afield, either in Michigan or across the Canadian border, or has she gone completely outside the country? And what we've seen from her Instagram is that both Christine and Kaitlin are very well-traveled young women. They've been to many, many countries across the world, and so it wouldn't be very hard for them to think about living in another country, having been to many other countries. These countries include South Africa, Thailand, Italy, Ireland, and Iceland. Anyway, we're going to do a deeper dive in the live stream a little bit later today, so don't miss that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.